Hi and welcome to my first video of this style. This is basically my Cheshire West and Chester Social Services truth video. I'm actually coming out with this video because obviously a lot has gone on over the past 4.5 years that I've not actually been able to share with you guys. Obviously, what you can see below this feed of me talking is obviously the next steps, which is to share this as far as possible, start a major complaint and get the meta files, expose Cheshire West and Chester Social Services for the true evil they are. Let the world know that they are always looking for an excuse to keep your children. So, without further ado, I'm going to start going through this because obviously this will obviously be recorded prior to obviously the when it will be going out, obviously, because obviously it's with a lot of hurt in my heart I'm having to do this, because obviously I never once wanted to ever have to get to this stage, because obviously it's going to be about 5 years till I'll probably ever be able to see my eldest again. 9 and a bit till I'll be able to see my youngest. So that's how it's gonna go down, but that's the worst it's gonna be. But our two wonderful children were stolen from us by Cheshire West and Chester Social Services on the 7th of December 2021 on several false allegations. Back then, I had to leave the house the day before due to these false allegations, which my son later did come back on, and the social never once took that into consideration. He then, because it was in the back of a social worker's car, a family worker's car, these were just all laughed off, said, oh, well, a kid can lie. Oh, well, if a kid can lie both ways, they don't seem to take that into consideration. They don't seem to care. But then, obviously, the social worker at the time that took the kids illegally was Jane Rimmer and her accomplice, Helen Binks. But Jane Rimmer always kind of set this up, because she said back in the September prior to this, I will be coming to take the kids away if there's any incompliance, and obviously that's a threat against the family, and obviously they're not legally allowed to threat a family, and obviously this is going on up and down Cheshire, and obviously these social workers shouldn't be allowed to get away with this. But also they both manhandled both the children, my eldest and youngest, into the back of the car. Obviously I wasn't there to witness this, but my wife and my now no longer with us mother was, and obviously they both witnessed this. They both should have been struck off instantly, but as we know, social workers are protected. So it's okay for social workers to get away with hurting children, harming children. As you'll see, this is a theme throughout this. Then Jane Rimmer was replaced and replaced by what we would only discuss as the devil reincarnated, called Jeanette Dykes. She immediately lied to my mum's face, as she asked when would the kids be going back home to us, and she then said April 2022, so within 6 to 8 months. And this was a lie, as in a statement she deliberately put the opposite, because she was in staunch favour of them staying within foster care. In April on the 1st, Jeanette assaulted my eldest, but got away with this. On that day, yes, there was a bit of heat on the moment, I will admit to that, but again, this could have all been a change of circumstances, because obviously when we were in the room, it could have all been, we let it all boil down there and we all say our goodbyes in the family centre. But no, Jeanette wanted it to boil over into the car park, and that's where it got even worse. And then obviously she accused me of trying to take the kids away, which I wasn't. Sort of for his Woody outfit, and because I always have wipes in the back of my car, because it's what a good parent always does. You carry likes of baby wipes. So I wiped him down, wiped his face and stuff like that. He had tears in his eyes, and he was scared of the social worker, as you would be. But again, the social worker got protected. And then it gets worse. The social then falsely diagnosed my youngest with cystic fibrosis, which then gave him chest problems, because at the time it was just a bad cough caused by probably a bit of stuff going on because of COVID and whatnot. But then we all know the social doesn't know their arse from their elbow, because we tried to explain what it was. They don't listen to parents. They never have, never will, which is a pain in the neck. So, and they also allowed my youngest's feet to be destroyed by allowing one of the foster carers to force his feet into too small a shoe. This was allowed to continue for 6+ months, and now he's got major feet problems where he's going to have tendon surgery to sort that problem out. Again, this should have been nipped in the bud straight away, like we would as good parents. We'd bin the shoes and take him straight to Clark's, get him resized. So simple, but obviously in the eyes of social, everything's a ball ache with them, because they don't know how to look after children. It is just horrendous. The two boys have been subject to 11 house moves in total between them, so no wonder there's a lot of horrendous trauma between them. They blame a lot of this on ourselves, but none of it is. It's because they don't know their arse from their elbow. The eldest is in his last chance saloon, is in basically a nut house, where they have been forcefully taken away his liberties, which I disagree with strongly, because they just believe they can do what they want when they want, whereas a lot of this is baloney effectively, because obviously locking a windows is just a standard parental thing. Locking car doors, again, it's just a general parental thing. Locking your front door, again, it's just a general parental thing. And in this day and age, would you really let your 13-year-old into a town centre on his own with the way things are going? I think these people just don't know what's going on. They're just lefty liberals that don't actually realise what the world has come to. But that's another story. My youngest is living with a vile teacher from my eldest's school called Ruth. She has now told the youngest what the false allegations were, just to turn him against us. And obviously that is trauma. And then she's blaming the fact he is soiling himself on us, because she won't take the blame for anything. Please, the queen, the god, whatever you want to call it, she isn't. She's imperfect. She claims to be this perfect SEN teacher, but she isn't, because she once looked after both kids but binned off the eldest because of his special needs. So it proves she's shit and she can't do a job right. So again, she shouldn't be turning us down. And at the beginning of this, she was supposed to be taking the eldest swimming, and she goes, "Oh, I can't take him swimming in case the parents turn up." And all we were doing was ringing the swim baths up and going, "Oh, how's he doing in his swimming lessons?" Just to check his progress, because we were that happier parents to find out how his progress was going, to see how close he was to his next badge, his next award. We liked his progress because we were championing his swimming, so that was nothing wrong. She can't do anything down the phone. It was just her wanting us out of his life. Basically, she was a bitch, and she basically needed challenging on that. But no, she's Saint Ruth, and it's disgusting. They've stood by the whole time thinking she's perfect. She isn't. She's a sinner, effectively. And that's what I mean. All she does is like exposing kids to trauma. But they'll put the trauma through us, saying we're the ones exposing all the kids to emotional trauma. And then there's the other side of things when it comes to likes of computer gaming. They say obviously we put them through too much screen time. Again, it's like just go, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'll just palm the kids off to all these other people doesn't really know, but you know, it's easy that. But that's the problem. You can't go doing that, and it's not good when we're being blamed in contact when we only have short periods of time that we can't have the screen time with them, and it's supposed to be child-led play. Because I've just spoken to my sister who works in similar jobs to what family play is, and obviously it's supposed to be child-led. These social workers all need retraining if they don't understand up here. It's supposed to be child-led. I've sent them the courses. Maybe they need to redo these courses or go and do the courses. I've said to them to do that. I bet they won't, because we've done 7 courses as parents since this all started. One is too many, because most parents never do one to have a newborn baby, but that's by the by. The current social worker, Louise Mickelduff, only wants more trauma and upset for the whole family, just like Jeanette Dykes did. Obviously, yes, we're glad we got rid of Jeanette through the complaint procedure, but again, we're now at procedure. We got a bloody good social worker in Hazan, and he seemed to be working well with us. And now they've stuck us back with the exact same as what Jeanette was. I don't understand that. And then also the social services has stopped the boys saying goodbye to their grandma when she passed away. That never happened. It's disgusting how they treated the kids. And also, should their only grandfather pass away, it's got to be the social that tells the kids, I'm sorry, who the hell are you to be telling the kids? It should come from me. He's my dad, not yours. I'm the one that tells the kids. Because you're not blood. You'll never be blood to my kids. Nor will Ruth. Kids are mine. And that's how it goes. They know that. They just don't care about the kids. And they're the ones that have helped put my mum in the hole in the ground, because it basically put additional stress on her at the worst time in her life when she was suffering brain tumours. Yes, she probably would have lived an extra couple of years, but it didn't help, especially when they were lying to her on a daily basis and stuff like that, because Jeanette was an evil woman. But the social tried to dictate the kids' lives, as I said, for example, stating that play should be parent-led, but that's factually wrong, as I mentioned before. And yes, the social services do need retraining. And social services think it's okay for double standards. For example, taking stuff away for too long, because we were accused of this at the beginning, which, however, when we're accused of it, and I'm sorry, why is he allowed to have his tablet taken away for up to 2 to 3 weeks? Oh, but a parent can't take away an F1 for a whole race. But we were then told 15 minutes, which we've now understood, and we've gone by that. Yes, allowed to do what they want to punish a child and do restraints and all sorts of things like that. I'm sorry, no. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't allow one to get away with things and not the other. But then we know social services is corrupt. That's the other side of things. But, you know, they will get away with things. And then, as I mentioned, I mentioned screen time before. But then, obviously, our independent social worker, the latest one of many, Becky Clark, who came round at Christmas, she physically lied in court. And claiming the kids were on the PS5 for more than 3 hours. Physical lie, and a blatant lie to make our lives worse. Because obviously, when the kids came round, physically it took 15 minutes with the greetings and everything like that. Then they were opening their presents for, and that took about half an hour to 45 minutes. Then they were eating, which was about another half an hour to 45 minutes. Then they were upstairs playing with their new toys and stuff like that, which was about 45 minutes to half an hour, say 45, and then they were on the PlayStation. So there was nowhere near 3 hours because they were only here for 4 hours. I think she's thick as pig shit up here, or she's deluded. But again, we're not allowed to label these people. Well, now, because I've got freedom of speech, I'm not restricted. I will label these people, and I will call you out, Becky, because you've deliberately derailed this because you didn't want us to have the kids back. You came into our home, we trusted you, and now we don't. We don't have to trust any of you anymore because you're all fed from the same trough. You all eat out of the same pig swill. So no, I don't trust any of you anymore. And here's a good saying for you all. The main thing to learn, social workers all lie, they cheat, they steal. Social workers, or in the other words, is they lie, they cheat, they steal. Eddie Guerrero. But obviously, you just changed the terms. This has been going on since 2021, the present day, but they are not interested in ever giving them back. Too much money in it, that's the fact, because you think they get bonuses, you just look how much money the carer gets, and it's just an abomination. All they do is look for the slightest thing to make you fall down and to fall back into a trap. And even if it's the slightest thing, they're not interested. So the thing I would like you all to do is share this far and wide, because obviously I'm going to be combing back through all my documents. Any more incidents I can find that are social services incidents, I will be doing further videos, further investigations, and I will air every bit of dirty laundry for them, because obviously they need exposing. And I know there's another exposure going on with a major complaint. It's already at stage 3. I'm not going to name him on here because obviously that's not my business. But obviously at some point, if he wants to then do a joint video and we expose it joint, that's fair game. But I know at the moment there's reasons why I probably can't. But if it comes to that, let's rain hell down on the social services, because they need exposure. They're not the clean-cut people they explain to be. For example, the latest couple of calls I've had with Louise, she claims to be the saint in each call. She hung up on me, but she was the aggressor. Not me, her. All I was doing was asking the questions. Like, for example, when is Ruth getting sacked? Yes, I'm entitled to ask that question, because obviously for her trauma, she's putting on my youngest. Again, I don't think they will sack her, because they don't want to, because it's Saint Ruth. She should have gone a long time ago. This was public with their knowledge back in September when she made the trauma on my youngest. But they didn't want to do anything with it because they don't care. They prefer him to go through the trauma but put the blame on myself and my wife. That's the stupidity of it all. When the blame is clearly in that building because they're useless and beyond a joke. None of them should have a job. They should all be on the dole because they're useless, beyond a joke, and they think they are God's gift. They're not. They're beyond reproach. and I will be taking this further, because this will be going into a major complaint, because I am sick and tired of having to deal with incompetence. So again, thanks for listening, and I will speak to you again. Goodbye.